9. Dini Sukkah b'Yom HaShvi. Right? The laws of the Sukkah on the 7th day of Sukkot. Hoshana Rabbah. Alpi shegoma lechol b'Yom HaShvi shachris. Person finishes eating on the 7th day in the morning. Lo yista sukkoso. He should not dismantle the Sukkah. Cholamoid. Avamoti sakelu mimeno. Minamintchul mala. But he's permitted, this is in Eretz Yisrael. He removes his vessels in the afternoon, and he begins setting up the house for Shmini Atzeres, for Yom Tov Achron, that it should be a proper setting in the house. V'me'ein lo lefanos kelov, v'me'ein lo lefanos kelov, ro tzilechol bo b'shmini. Let's say he has nowhere to go. He has the sukkah, he has nowhere else to go. He has nowhere to bring his vessels into. So, but it's a question of Baltosif. You know, you're not permitted, sukkah is a 7-day Yom Tiv, not on the 8th day. So you have to do something to indicate that you're sitting in this location not for the sake of the fulfillment of the mitzvah. So what do? You take the schach and you remove 4x4 of the schach. So you're showing the sukkah is not, even though where you're sitting, there's still schach. But since you removed some of the schach, 4x4, it's to indicate the sukkah is what? You're not interested in the sukkah functioning as a fully viable sukkah. So when you sit on the 8th day, it shouldn't look like you're adding to the mitzvah that you have an interest in sitting in the sukkah on the 8th day. Let's say you want to sit in the sukkah a week after Sukkot. There's nothing wrong. A person sits in a shaded room. But to go beyond the 7th day, immediately the day after, people say he's extending. If he sat 7 days, he wants to add another day to Yom Tov. Because it's a Yom Tov. Shmini says a Yom Tov. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Lo yista sukkoso. Because as long as the 7th day, you have still an obligation to sleep there, even though you finished eating, and to study there. And let's say a meal presents itself, he wants to eat, he's supposed to eat in the sukkah until the end of the 7th day. So it is already later in the afternoon. The main lo lefanos, he has nowhere else to eat but in the sukkah. Tzorch lechol b'yom tov achron b'sukkah. Al kabon tzorch lifchos bo. He has to minimize the sukkah. V'nir dainu kodem shkias hachama. So when he's, of course, he has to, otherwise it's stira. Yom Tov, you're not permitted to dismantle the structure. So he has to make sure, when does he do this? Before sundown, right? Before Yom Tov starts, before Shmini Atzeres starts. Depen yizdamelo od lechol b'gavor. 1 second. V'nir dainu kodem shkias hachama. He's saying for a different reason. Let him say the reason is what I'm saying. Because you're so there. If a person has a kosher schach and you go and validate sukkah, isn't that so there? Same with so there. You have a viable sukkah, now you remove part of the roof. Right? Maybe it's not kosher, maybe it's good, maybe it's mekalkel. Right? It's not so sabnas livnos, but still rabbinically you shouldn't be permitted. Right? I mean, he's saying the reason why you shouldn't do it, you do it before Shkia, you do it the last moment possible, because maybe a meal may present itself and you're going to be obligated to eat in the sukkah. I know. You mean you do it as late as possible. That's what he's saying. Even though 3 tvachim, if it's open space, right? We say lovud. If you have less than 3 tvachim from one bamboo pole to the next, we see it is sealed. So if that's the case, 3x3 is sufficient. Why do you have to make an opening of 4x4? 4x4 tvachim? Because it's not as noticeable. Because it's considered a location which is much more substantial. So therefore, it's more recognizable. Kimosif, because if you don't do it, it looks like you're adding to the Yom Avomosif Mam Shlo Nikra Lavalo Mishum Baltosif. Right? When you sit in the sukkah on Shmini Atzeres, why are you sitting there? It's not that your intention is to add, rather you have nowhere else to eat, so you're eating in the sukkah. The Gemara says that if it's no longer the time of the mitzvah, unless you have specifically time that you want to create the mitzvah to add to the mitzvah, you're not in violation of Baal Tosif. Okay? So therefore it's purely in terms of what it appears to be. But he says it's only on the 8th day, but let's say you want to sit in the sukkah a few days after Sukkot or right after Simchas Torah, it's not a problem. You leave the sukkahs. Right? If you have to eat later in the day, you have to eat in the sukkah. Shiva. You have an obligation, Torah says. Shivas Yomim. 7 days you must eat in the sukkah. Oh, now we're getting into complicated territory. No, because factually, the Hasidim, they don't have a leg to stand on. It's a Gemara. The Gemara says explicitly, in Chutz La'aretz, you must eat in the sukkah, but one doesn't say a bracha because some brachas lokeh. Right? They have to reconcile the Gemara. Whatever way they reconcile the Gemara, it's difficult. The Gemara says, right, sit, you sit, but bracha, you don't say a bracha because some brachas lokeh. So the way the Ashkenazim do it, the Misnagdim, they eat in the sukkah. That's the correct thing. It's Halacha Shulchan Aruch. Chutz La'aretz tzorich leishiv bo b'shmini. Shmini Atzeres. On Shmini Atzeres, it's Sveka Diyoma, right? Time of the Beis Hamikdash, right? I don't know how. I know how I do it. I don't know how you do it. You sit, but you don't say a bracha. You don't say, right? And how long do you sit in the sukkah? Whenever you want to eat. We're not machmir. Even a person's machmir not to eat fruit out of the sukkah, not to drink out of the sukkah. But on Shmini Atzeres, so that we don't do on Shmini Atzeres. Only what's the ultimate obligation. Like if you want to eat bread or eat a meal, that's you eat in the sukkah.
So the whole day after
We eat. It's mechaber. Chutz La'aretz tzorich leishiv bo b'shmini. Goma lech mi lecho b'yom hashmini. What about on the 8th day? Chutz La'aretz now, the 8th day is the equivalent of second day in Yisrael. So what you do on the 7th day, when you finish eating on the 7th day, that's what you do on the 8th day, when you finish eating on the 8th day. Now, I've never heard a good answer, how they reconcile. Yeah, but it's a Sveka Diyoma. So Sveka Diyoma, you have to conduct yourself on the 8th day like on the 7th day. Why not? It's no worse than anything else. It's no worse than... It's not obvious. It's not obvious. Okay? Let's see. If it's in a hotel, you have no Eitzah, but you can't do this. You can't be over the Isser. No, it's Losas Goded. No, you've been doing. But if the Chazal said it's Losas Chazal, then in Etzol, even if you're in Chutz La'aretz, you have to conduct yourself like you're in Chutz La'aretz. Wait a second. So if you can conceal, of course you should conceal. There's no way. There's no way to conceal it unless don't go to a hotel, right? That's the answer. Don't go to a hotel. It's like you have a certain hotel. The kashrus is questionable. He says, but my wife can't make Pesach. Something. Okay, so do whatever it costs. No hotel. Hire somebody to housekeeper, chef in your house. Let her make the Pesach at home. Still cheaper. Okay, but my wife has to get away. Okay, so find yourself a hotel that meets the kosher standard. It doesn't make a difference, whatever it is. What you want to learn? Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says what you do in Chutz La'aretz, you have to do in Eretz Yisrael. That's the Shulchan Aruch. That's the Mechaber. I'm not coming to discuss what the Mechaber is. The Mechaber is best known in Gemara in Psachim. Minhag Avosenu, you become like a whole lamdin. Minhag Avosenu, there and that. That the halach is Minhag Avosenu means what? Yeah, right. That's what you have to do. Okay. Okay. That's not called a public display. Okay? So he says on the 8th day, what do you do on the 8th day? You do on the 8th day what people do on the 7th day. Towards the end of Shmini Atzeres, you remove all your vessels, umafano samimeno, and you empty the sukkah. V'ein lo mokum lahori eskelov, rotze lecho babichi. Let's see, again, you have nowhere to eat, and you have to eat on Simchas Torah in the sukkah. What do? Einu yochel lifchos bo. Now you have a problem. So you can't move the schach, you can't invalidate the sukkah. You see, because here you needed the sukkah on Shmini Atzeres. In Eretz Yisrael, you're able to do it at the end of the 7th day, because it's still Chol HaMoed. But what do you do on Shmini Atzeres? Right? Yeah, and you have nowhere to eat on the 9th day. Right? So he says, "Ein yochel lifchos b'm neishu yom tov, u'mayaseh bo lekero." So what do you do to make it obvious that you're not there for the sake of a mitzvah? Im hoysek tano she'oslo niach bo haner b'shar yomim, because the Gemara says in sukkah that if it's a small sukkah, you shouldn't bring a candelabra into the sukkah, because it's a question. You could start a fire. You can burn the sukkah down. So therefore, you bring a nair in. Yanechena bo, even though it's difficult. What's you burn the sukkah down on Simchas Torah? But years ago, if you remember, kids used to go on it was a shallah halacha. It's not. They used to have the candy apples, and they used to stick a candle on top of the candy apple, and the kids used to walk around. So they had burning candles. So the person's tallis would catch on fire, person's hair would catch on fire. This is the way they went around with the candles. So, but the Gemara says you're not supposed to bring in a sukkah katana. You shouldn't bring in a candelabra, because it's a question that you can burn the sukkah down. But on Tisha, for Heki, you bring the candle in. What it's a large sukkah that you can bring a candelabra in. Normally you don't bring in pots and pans and all that because it's a disrespect for the mitzvah. But to indicate that it's no longer a mitzvah, you bring the pots and pans in. To indicate that the sukkah no longer functions as sukkah and the mitzvah is already completed. It seems to be that the first preference would be to bring the candle in, right? If sukkah gedola, you bring the pots and pans in. It's interesting. Why? Bring the unclean pot into the sukkah. It's no worse than being on your table at home, right? The answer is that's also not covered Yom Tov. Even Yom Tov, could you imagine a person has an empty cholent pot on the Shabbos table? It's not respectful. Here, you have no choice. You have to do something to indicate that you're not doing it for a mitzvah. So bring a candle. It's not a question of respect. If it's a mitzvah, we don't have the candle. So you bring the candle. But let's say you have no other choice. You have no choice. You bring the kteros in. You bring the pot to the table, which you normally don't bring a pot to the table. No. Evidently, the candle is it's very remote. Because it's truly a concern. It may burn down. So whatever, that's a hecker. You need the location. Besides pikuach nefesh, everything that goes along with it. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Yani chanaba, ein pri megorim shemstapik iminiach ba b'shmini, o ulai davke b'chi. The shmini sovik shvi hu lididan, v'chem mitzar b'sev my morchei shlachtes bo nero kora b'shmini. Du la yitzach lecho bo v'yevshel lo leposlo, psiske rosh motzabedju b'shmini, gabkim b'sof shmini. He does mean earlier in the shmini, means towards the end of shmini. Lakvo shi psula, machaben nokalosh and arif of sukkah. What do you mean? It's psula. Ein shambaran, Ramban, de nakavod shnipsel. It's not you invalidate. Let's say a person brings a pot, middle of sukkahs to the table. You still go to the mitzvah. I mean, it's a disrespect. It's not the sukkahs invalidated. You remove the schach, it's invalidated. You make something obvious that to invalidate it means that you don't want to be yotze the mitzvah. Sheinu yoshibo b'torah sukkos hachag, vayin leo simtov reish lamites Mishna Berura Succos vov shar tzion sham. Okay. If you eat less than a bay of cake, let's say you want to have something that you wouldn't say leishe basukah, that you eat in the house. You want to have a cup of coffee with a small piece of cake. You don't go in the sukkah. It's only something that, without a question, you have an obligation to eat in the sukkah. That's what we eat. You have to go out into the sukkah. Once the 7 days is over, it's nothing. Shmini Atzeres is like Simchas Torah for us. On the 8th day, they're out of the sukkah.
So really, the eighth day for us is really Simchas Torah.
For them. The 8th day for them is Simchas Torah.
In terms of what we're allowed to do is really whatever Simchas Torah is really for us their eighth day.
Correct. Okay. Let's see the Chovos Levovos. They have different among the Hasidim. They do different. No, but even among Hasidim, they do certain things at night. They do. That's what I'm saying. They just make kiddush and they have something. They have kiddush and eat just some mazonos, and they. Those are the ones who don't sit in the sukkah, right? Yeah. At night, they're different than Hogim among Hasidim. What brachos? No, it's Svekar Yoma. No, bracha not. First, it's a tarti de sashi, right? No. We don't. No. Even in what's his name? It's a Svekar Yoma. You wouldn't say the bracha anyway. But Svekar Yoma, we do say bracha, right? You say kiddush on the second day Yom Tov. Okay, so you have to acknowledge it. But because there's a contradiction, it's a Shmini Atzeres the 7th day. You can't say both, right? You say Shmini Atzeres you don't say Chag Sukkos. You say only one of them. That's okay.